Welcome to our new series, The 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie.
Watching it the last few weeks, so talk to me about this one.
Bigger blockbusters, yes, Chad.
I did say better.
Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has now surpassed this movie that I'm going to talk about. So I talked about Demon Slayer last week, and Demon Slayer has now made more money than my next movie. And my next movie is James Gunn's 2025 Superman. Now, I'm not going to sit here and fucking tell you what Superman is about. I'm not, but I'll give you the vibes of everything. I've never been a DC guy, really. Even when I read comics, I dabbled in DC, but it wasn't my favorite. I was always a Marvel kid growing up. Loved Spider-Man, loved the Avengers, Iron Man, the whole thing. Doctor Doom, all that shit. So I never really was too big into it. And then the movies have come out, DC versus Marvel, and I've never been into like the whole Zack Snyderverse crap. With like Ben Affleck as Batman and Henry Cavill as Superman. Although I do like him as Superman. And I like certain parts. Wonder Woman was okay, but Wonder Woman 1984 was really bad. So overall, I've never genuinely liked DC, sort of superhero movies, because I know that we've talked about it before, that superhero movies are like a huge thing. They're pretty much their own, I guess, era of like movies, and I think we're kind of on the other side of it. But the good thing for DC is that James Gunn decided to move over from Marvel, and James Gunn was, pretty much in charge of the creative direction of one of my favorite Marvel franchises, which was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Same.
Which I really liked a lot. And I just like the sense of humor. I just like the vibe. I just like the pacing, and it just kind of gave, just a really cool, like, sort of not cringy comedic aspect to Marvel, but and it also had some really good heart, and it had some good action. I'm happy to say that it does carry over to this one in the Superman. It does kind of have, this is the most Marvel feel type of DC movie I've seen, if that makes any kind of sense. I think if you watch superhero movies, you kind of understand that vibe, where it's a little bit lighter than some of these DC superheroes have been. It throws you right into the Superman like mythos, right? It's like there's like a beginning part where it's like, this is like 3 years since Superman has been doing this. It's like 3 years since he's been. It basically throws you right into it assumes that the Superman like backstory, and it just goes from there.
The basics, yeah.
It just goes from there, which I mean is, for me, that's fine, because I don't need to like have a lot of exposition or everything. I know he came from Krypton. I know he was raised by two people in Kansas. Like, everybody knows that. And so it really takes off from there. And, it starts off with him as Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And, slight spoiler, it's very apparent at the very beginning. Like, like Lois and him are already in a relationship, and she already knows that he's Superman. And so, but at the beginning, it kind of seems like they don't. But then when they get to their apartment, clearly they've been seeing each other for a while. So it doesn't mess around with a lot of backstory, just gets right into it. And, overall, I thought it was pretty good. I liked, I want to say his name is Nicholas Hoult. I've seen him in movies. I think the first movie I saw him in was About a Boy, I want to say, with like Hugh Jackman when he was like a little kid.
Oh, yeah, shit, I remember that. Wait, so you're telling me the guy who plays Superman played the little boy in About a Boy?
No,
the
man who plays Lex Luthor.
Oh, all right. Sorry, I missed.
Plays
Okay, gotcha.
Nicholas Hoult plays. So Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor. He's been in a bunch of movies, obviously. Warm Bodies is another favorite of mine, where he plays a zombie that's coming back to life, which I really like that movie. It's like a weird guilty pleasure. But I've always liked him. He does a really good job of playing Lex Luthor, this kind of just evil villain capitalist guy who is just fucking with Superman's world. And if you've seen any sort of Superman versus Lex Luthor thing, you're not going to be blown away by the dynamic here. Really, the overall message, and I'll get to like what I've heard people call Superman, which is they call it like Barbie for men, which of course I saw Barbie earlier this year. It's not as and I'm not saying there's anything negative about Barbie because I did enjoy it and I don't have any problems with the message of Barbie, but it's not as like in your face. The whole thing with Superman, this movie of Superman, yes, it has the action, yes, it has everything you expect, but like Clark's real kind of worldview in the whole movie's worldview is that being kind and having empathy for others is its own form of punk rock, and that is the way that the movie is. Like Clark is going to do good because he just feels that he naturally should be doing good, and there is a plot development in the middle of this movie, of course, that makes him question that. But he then, realizes his own personal morals and his moral compass. And, people are always like, you're too trusting, you're too whatever. And he's like, I am going to save people because it just requires me to save people, regardless of the politics, regardless of anything that may be happening. He's like, it's just good to have empathy for people and try to save them and be nice and be kind to others. And that was kind of the overall like vibe and the theme, which I kind of liked. Now, I mean, is it like a mind-blowing movie? No, I did appreciate that Nathan Fillion was in this though as a Green Lantern. He was funny as Nathan Fillion tends to be, but overall it wasn't like anything that blew me away. But I didn't hate this movie, and I thought it was enjoyable. I don't know, and I say this for every movie I pretty much watch these days. I don't know if I'll ever see it again. I might, because I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy a bunch of times, and I will probably continue to see Guardians of the Galaxy whenever it's on because I just love it. I love the dynamic, and I think it's hilarious. But I think if this was a good, not great sort of reintroduction and kind of reset of like the DC universe. And I think that I'm interested to see where it goes from here and how they kind of implement some of the things that they did. It's not very open-ended. So it's not like one of those movies that ends and you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be a thing. It is its own movie by itself. And, again, I thought it was pretty good. Do I think it's as good as the Christopher Reeve original ones? Not like part 2 and part 3, like original Superman? Maybe not so much, but there is nothing wrong with this movie. Very enjoyable film, and if you have the opportunity to see it for free, I think you should.
And it's funny because you mentioned earlier that they expected you to know a lot of the backstory, which I have appreciated because it's been done. Superman's been done a few times, and
so many times.
But it's also like they did with Spider-Man in the MCU. The Tom Holland version, like. They didn't go through the whole Uncle Ben arc again. It's like, you kind of know, this is just how it is, and, introduce it a little later, which, yeah, even the casual fans, you didn't have to be a comic fans, the movies have done the same thing, so it's like, why rehash something that everyone just knows, and it doesn't add that much to the story, we just want to get to the next part, so, is this the movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100% sure, that introduces Krypto? Isn't this the one that introduces the dog, or is that a different?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does have the dog from the jump.
Okay.
And it does also have Supergirl randomly in it, like just not a very big part, but she shows up in it. But yeah, Krypto is in here and is a very big part. It's not explained to me why he's Krypto. I don't read the comics, so I don't know. But from the jump, he already has a dog that wears a cape that is clearly has superpowers.
Okay. Just curious. I have no clue why. I just remember seeing that, and I couldn't remember if it was that Superman or something different. So
yeah.
But superhero movies just need to be simple sometimes. Just have our superhero save the day. You don't have to overthink it. I didn't realize Nathan Fillion was in this, and I love him. For him to be Green Lantern is hilarious to me. because now it's just like him and Ryan Reynolds, and I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, I know there was probably a few others sprinkled in there, but yeah, because this is on HBO. I might have to check this out somewhere down the line. But anyhow, the question,
it's worth checking out.
It is.
Yeah.
The question, Soto, though, as you're perusing your long list of films that you have now seen in 2025, where are you going to put Superman, the 2025 version?
I'll be honest. I'm looking at an area.
We always
are. We always are. But we'll see. But I think, from an enjoyment standpoint, that I would put this at number. I'd put this at number 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 23 feels good.
Yeah, that's not actually a bad
top 25 movies that I've seen this year. There's nothing. It's perfect. This is a perfectly fine movie. Doesn't require a lot of thought. It's got its own thing. Of course, the action is better in the Zack Snyder movies, but I felt that the vibe of this one was pretty good. And again, it was Superman with a little bit of a Marvel kind of a feel to it. And if you ever watch it, you'll sort of kind of understand what I'm talking about. Not like Taika Waititi, but like James Gunn. Like, because Taika is a little bit on the absurd side. But yeah, I thought this was perfectly fine. Definitely top 25.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I mean, especially when you think about the number of the list, that's top third. So that's that is impressive. There's nothing wrong. You think 20 something like but like no, on our list, that's a good spot to be in.